Hello everybody, welcome back to wolfeei. Today we're going to be talking about the Pandora's Box Dragon Pit teams. They're crazy, I can't lie, they're pretty insane. We're going to get into it. I have some stuff to talk about after I talk about every single team, but before we get into that, just want to say, reminder, what Dragon Pit is for anyone who isn't aware, because I think there's a little bit of confusion maybe going on. Dragon Pit is a one-time PB special event where they specifically wanted to bring a really cool roster together to kind of, make up for the amount of work that went into this. This is an event that took a long time to make, so very big props to the PB team for putting this together. I just wanted to do a little bit of a clarification in the start, because some people misinterpreted how the roster reflects on PB. I'll get to it in a bit. Anyways, teams, let's start. First team, which on the YouTube side of things, I think is pretty interesting because DrDonut, I think, is relatively popular on like YouTube, TikTok. So for some of the younger audience, you guys might be really excited about Donut. I barely know the guy. I have him added on, or I'm mutuals with him on Twitter. That's about it. MinuteTech also making their first like proper minigame tournament appearance, which is very fun. Hannah finally getting to play a PB. Hannah's been in the roster for a while, but she hasn't been available until now, so it's fun to see her back in the mix. And then Andres, obviously, is the captain of this team, which I should also explain, because I don't think that was actually properly communicated either, because it's kind of my influence on this event was that they asked me for advice on how to handle the roster. To cut the story short, I advised them to assign captains and ask players to bring in their friends to potentially get a bigger roster than PB could get by themselves, because getting creators without knowing creators is really hard. So getting some of your players who are excited about the event to bring some of their friends is a lot easier, which is what happened in this entire roster, and especially for the pink team was extremely relevant. You're welcome. Just saying, a little bit of advice from Alex Wolfeei can do a little bit of magic sometimes. Not to take too much credit, okay? I'm just saying, like, I nudged them in the right direction. Anyways, cool team. It is strong. We need to address that too. This event was kind of advertised as a more casual event, which it still could be, because there needs to be a distinction between how the event plays and how strong the teams are, because this event, for example, could be 8 blitz hunts and having a strong roster would not matter. But I don't think that's the case. I think it'll be a hybrid in between, like, some games that require maybe some teamwork aspects, maybe some puzzles, maybe some whatever, and then maybe you'll have like a bit of PvP, maybe a bit of parkour, so it'll be a nice balance. Regardless, this is a very strong team. Very excited to see how they'll do though, and one thing that is also important to note is I think there is the potential for a lot of the newcomers that are in this specific event to play in future Pandora's Box events, which will become relevant, again, when we finish talking about the teams and the part after. Anyways, red team done. Orange team announced was the this following team, led by Bob Blue. He is the captain of this team, where he brought in Ant Venom, who you should know, AJ the Bold, who, if you didn't know AJ the Bold from just them doing content by themselves, you might have heard of them from Parkour Civilization, because they played as one of the characters. I don't remember specifically which one. And then also Flame Frags, who is one of the more recent newcomer adds, I guess, to Lifesteal SMP. From what I've been told, because I don't really know much about Flame Frags, if anything, really. What I've been told is that apparently Flame Frags is that good at PvP that apparently they even pose a threat to like ClownPierce. So that's interesting. Obviously ClownPierce mostly is a SMP PvP player, which there is a difference between SMP PvP and event PvP. I don't know how Flamefrags' skill set in PvP or other avenues of Minecraft will translate into a minigame event, because I don't think they've played them before, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Very interesting team. I think it's cool. Anyways, next team. Golden Griffins, yellow team. You got a, kind of a Block Wars-esque team led by Booster, who's the captain of this team. together with 5UP, who's played before, and then May and Shira. May, I feel like, has gained a lot of traction recently within the Minecraft event community because of her debut in Block Wars and how she's been able to hold up pretty well in Block Wars since. So it'll be exciting to see how May will do in PB and how people will, perceive her performance here. And Shira is a nice person to have in as well. Shira being probably, and this is absolutely zero offense, probably one of the weaker players in this event. There's a pretty big skill gap between the people that are probably going to get bottom 3 and then everyone else. But yeah, Shira, very fun teammate. Probably, at least, Booster and Shira have made a lot of content together. I think it's going to be a great combo of people, and even if they end up last, which I will say this team is probably the weakest team by a decent margin, even if they get last, it'll be funny. So it doesn't matter. It'll be a fun squad, because Booster and May also just teamed in Block Wars, and they actually became friends from that, so it'll be cool to see how this team performs. Anyways, next up, the best team, the green team, which is actually my team. I put this team together. I know there was some people that thought that Zamb or something put this team together because Fruit's on it. I put this team together, okay? I'm just saying, I was responsible. Team of Fruitberries, Prince Zam, and Sneak being the only newcomer on the team. When I was asked about PB initially, I didn't know if I was going to be able to play. Obviously, now you see the result. I actually did end up playing. I was the first person to lock in a full team because for some reason, I'm just good at messaging people, I guess. I don't know, man. Yeah, fun little squad. My main goal was just to have a fun team. I don't really care about winning. I know my team is still strong. I just wanted to have a fun experience because I was told, hey, this is more of a casual content experience than a super sweaty PB event. So I was like, okay, I'll get whatever I think is fun while still keeping it at least up to par with every other team, hopefully. So my team will be good vibes. I have never teamed with Sneak in any event before. I've teamed with both Fruit and Zam in PB before, so it'll be fun to reunite. Obviously, should be mentioned as well, the Zam and Fruit crossover is probably one of the more hype aspects to this team. I think a lot of people are really excited about seeing them on the same team. I didn't do that on purpose. I just went for, these guys are funny. I like them. And then, because right after I locked in my team, a lot of people started to talk about, like, oh, Fruit and Zam. Like, Zam is a big fanboy of Fruit type stuff. And it's just a very welcome surprise, I guess, that people are really excited about that. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a fun experience. I hope that Zam can contain himself. But I know he was very excited for this, as he was in my chat a lot of the times when I was live. And I asked him if he was excited about the thing, which this was the thing. Yeah, the answer was yes. Anyways, next team is the Aqua team, led by Stu Greninja. He is the captain of this team, consisting of ClownPierce, Coldified, and Sage Mommy, which is an interesting squad. I must say, this is quite the random-looking team. I assume that obviously there is some overlap of connections that I may not be aware of. Maybe like Jess and Clown actually know each other. I didn't think they would, but maybe they do. Either way, obviously it's going to be very hype and very exciting to see Clown in another event. Clown is probably one of the most requested, unlikely players to be in every event. Not because he's like not big enough to be in events, but because he typically doesn't show interest in playing them. However, I think PB will be a bit more up his alley potentially, or maybe he's just playing because he likes the vibe. So yeah, anyways, cool team. Coldy, obviously, also someone who is very talked about, I think very frequently talked about because of how dominant of a player he's been in other events. For example, MCC, he got first in Div. I think in Spanish events, he's proven his point. In general, he's just a good Minecraft player, so I think he's obviously someone to look out for in this event. And then Jess, I think Jess has been a very nice breath of fresh air in terms of players in Minecraft events in general. Jess has played, obviously, a couple Block Wars now. She's played in EVNT events before, I think, and obviously now in PB. It'll be nice to see how she blends in with the rest of the players. I do think, again, no offense, that Jess is probably going to be bottom 3 by a decent margin because, again, the roster is very high comp, but I think that'll be fine. She got a fun squad of people with her, so it'll be cool. I think this will be an exciting event for sure. Next up, we have Blue Team. Blue Team consisting of Curryway with still one arm, Feinberg, Fur and Rattles. I'm pretty sure Fine is the captain of this team. This team is obviously going to be very fun. They've got an HBG trio, and then Fur, who should work very well with the people on this team. Whether it's, you know, the speedrunner crossover or just because they're like pals. It'll be a cool crossover of people together. I think it'll be really fun, and I'm excited to see how this team will do. Curious to see how Curry with one arm will perform in this event. Not only do I not know what the games are or what the gameplay is going to be like, but then I also don't know if Curry with one arm is going to be able to properly compete. It'll be interesting, I guess. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, cool blue team. Next up, purple team. With purple done purple, I'm fairly sure that the captain of this team is Anthos. However, I also am fairly sure that this team wasn't just Anthos inviting all the teammates. I think this was kind of a hybrid of you know, the organizers and Anthos working together to build a team, because this was one of the like last teams to be like confirmed as far as I'm aware. However, cool crossover. Obviously, purpled on a purple team is always going to be looked at as like a hype moment. Red and Jumper, Lifesteal duo. Jumper also making her appearance. Similar to Hannah, was supposed to play a while ago, but just hadn't been available until now. And Anthos obviously is a regular in the entire Minecraft event scene, really. So fun to see him on this team too. This could be a pretty good team. I'll be completely honest. However, I will say, Anthos likely, just like Jess and just like Shira, is probably going to be in the bottom 3 almost guaranteed, just because of the nature of this event and how competitive it actually is in terms of skill. No, I shouldn't say competitive. How high the skill level is, because it's insane. Like, this is unheard of. I mean, not that, like, normal PBs aren't this strong. The normal PBs look like this too, but it's just interesting to see some of the more popular good creators be thrown into the mix, and then seeing them all together, which I think is good. I want PB to be able to do that continuously, and that's my biggest hope. I hope that, like, all the Lifestealers and all the whatever, right, all those people are going to be recurring players, if possible. I think it'd be really cool. Anyways, that's a purple team. I've left. They've left the by far most insane team until last, because for some damn reason, Shadoon pulled the F through, man. Shadoon, obviously the captain of this team. Let's not, you know, I think that's pretty obvious. What the hell, man? Bro brought Spreen. Like, what do you mean? Spreen is playing in Pandora's box before either MCC or Block Wars? That's crazy. Or even an EV&T event by that standard. Like, that's absolutely insane. But obviously, very cool, cool team. To my understanding, this is like a existing squad. I mean, Shadoon said La Mafia está de vuelta, or whatever, man. I don't know, man. Anyways, the Mafia is here or something. I don't know what the Vuelta mean, but whatever, close enough. Counterstein, obviously someone who was gonna be in an MCC in the past, has been in like every Spanish event ever. I think this entire team is in every Spanish event ever. Counterstein was supposed to be an MCC, dropped out due to the Chris Green stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. I think Counterstein is completely fine. From what I've seen, they seem pretty cool. I haven't spoken to them before, but I've seen them around a couple times, so it's a pretty cool guy. Farfadox, to my understanding, is like an OG, I think, in terms of Spanish content. I could be wrong. But I'm fairly sure they're like an OG, like Minecraft, like high tier Minecraft streamer, and very popular, of course. And then obviously Spreen is Spreen. He's like one of the biggest streamers in general. He's on Kick now, I think, but he still pulls like 20, 30K on every stream, which kind of showcases like this guy is just like a Ludwig except Minecraft, and really, really good. Like this guy, or this team in general, is probably not the strongest. I won't say it's the strongest, because it's not, because they have no experience, and Shadoon barely has played 1 or 2 events like that. We can't call this the strongest. However, best chemistry pretty much on lock. Probably the strongest, weakest player on any team in terms of raw skill. I can't really, I mean, I guess we could look at every other team. Like the weakest player on Pink, potentially would be like maybe Farfadox or like Spreen. I'm not sure. But better than Anthos, better than Fur, better than Jess, better than probably Zam, better than Shira, better than Ant Venom, and then better than I don't know, like DrDonut. I don't know. Like the pink team has the strongest, weakest player, but probably also one of the weakest, strongest players. Not the weakest because Booster's playing, but still, it's definitely, you know, it's definitely an interesting one to look out for. But this team is insane. It's absolutely insane, and huge W for PB to be able to pull this. And also, obviously, massive shout out to Shadun for blessing Pandora's box with this absolutely insane team. Anyways. That's all regarding the teams. Now I get to yap about something else because I need to address this. I was going to just really post a Reddit post, but people pay more attention to Mogul Mail. So I'll talk about this real quick. Somebody on the Reddit made a post saying, PB bigger than Block Wars? I don't know, Brand. After seeing the teams for this PP, I was shocked. They seem to have turned it up a notch. Block Wars definitely had a better pass, but the future seems to be looking bright for PB if they can keep it with no... This... Oh, frick, I did not mean to press that. The talking here, I agree with. This? Hell no. Look, man, all due respect to PB. Great event. It's got a cool niche. And it does, I do agree, have a very bright future, potentially, depending on how Dragon Pit goes and depending on how the interest in the events continues, how they keep updating it, how they keep, you know, whatever, right? PB has a good path forward. It is promising. It could do really, really well. However... And this, I'm going to use a comparison in a little bit. Using Pandora's Box Dragon Pit, where the approach to getting this roster is so unique and so unlike any other PB, and comparing that to, I assume, regular Block Wars, is not fair. Because, for example, and this happened with Block Wars and MCC too, when we had this team, I know there was a pretty popular quote retweet from somebody. I can't find any quote retweets because Twitter is a stupid website and it deleted everything. But there was a very, very pretty well, you know, a big quote retweet saying, oh my god, Block Wars is officially bigger than MCC now. But the problem is, because I don't agree with that, especially with Season 4, I don't agree with that, but even at the time. The problem is, Block Wars Rookies 2, similar to PB Dragon Pit, is still like Block Wars because we always do manual invites, but it is a kind of an all-out event, right? We kind of try to get the not the biggest necessarily, but we try to go out of our way to get specific people to play the event that you would not see in any other event, and typically those people will be large variety streamers. For example, Iron Mouse, who didn't end up playing but was interested in playing, was one of the factors as to why people thought this event was gonna, you know, completely stomp MCC in terms of popularity. Which, to be fair, it did really good. This is without Iron Mouse playing. We had an average viewership of, I would say, around like 38k, 37k, whatever, right? That doesn't really matter. And at the time, the event that it was compared to was MCC. I don't know the viewership stats for MCC, but if I remember roughly correctly, I think it was around 30k, maybe 20k. I know it was one of the lower viewed MCCs, and maybe by raw stats, the Block Wars Rookies viewership would have been higher than the MCC 35 viewership. However, not a fair comparison, because this is one of the, I guess, technically smallest MCCs ever. Technically, in terms of viewership, probably one of the smallest MCCs ever compared to the biggest Block Wars ever, and that's not fair. That's what I mean. Like, obviously, the most recent Block Wars wasn't the smallest Block Wars ever, but comparing a one-off special event, this is probably going to be the biggest PB ever, unless obviously Spreen plays again, and maybe they get other large streamers again for another Dragon Pit type of event. This is probably going to be the biggest PB they'll ever host, because if you don't know already, I already mentioned it, Spreen by himself gets 30k viewers. The rest of the roster together probably will pull a decent amount too. I mean, even Farfadox, Contrasteen, and Shadun together might pull close to another 10,000. Like, this team itself will probably pull like between like 35k to 45,000 viewers, which is insanity. The rest of the roster probably will pull like 10k-ish too, maybe. It'll be a pretty big roster regardless. And Yeah, like this is just it's such a big gap. I think in the past PBs, I don't know the exact numbers, but like I would be surprised if they haven't peaked over 10K before in terms of viewership because of the roster that they have had thus far. This is a massive step up. Like genuinely a huge step up. And I think it's very deserved for PB, and it's very cool that they're going to get the recognition they deserve for the effort that is put in to this event. But I need people to understand that when you compare events to each other, first of all, typically is a bit toxic. I'm not going to be super harsh about it because I understand that it doesn't come from a place of evil intent. It's just frustrating because I feel like it's a recurring topic that keeps getting brought up. It gets explained, people understand, but then it gets brought up, and it seems like people forget, the explanation of why things are the way they are. However, yeah, PB, cool event, bigger than Block Wars, no. Does it have a lot of potential? Yes, but also, this is also a crazy statement here because I just remembered this sentence. Kind of makes it seem like Block Wars has peaked and will never peak bigger than it is right now, which I think is kind of crazy considering the trajectory of Block Wars is kind of only going up, whether it's a slow curve or a big fast curve, depending on how you view it. But Block Wars is still in a positive growth momentum right now. I just had to pick up steam a little bit for Series 3. But I do agree that PB has a bright future. And again, assuming that a lot of the people from this event are at least given the opportunity to play in PB regularly, I hope a lot of them say yes, and a lot of them will be recurring players. Because I think having a lot of these people in the mix, in the fold, consistently, would be very positive for PB and could lead to some interesting things. I will mention, though, I do think there is a ceiling to PB's growth because of the nature of their event, which is competitive Minecraft. If they can lean into it and can get the biggest competitive Minecraft players consistently, they'll be doing great, and they could potentially take over Block Wars' success. But generally speaking, because Minecraft isn't at its peak in terms of popularity, there just isn't that demand right now. It'll be unlikely for PB to be able to consistently pull over like 20K, unless these types of teams happen a lot, which is very unlikely. Anyways, enough yapping, enough rambling. I hope you understand what I was trying to say, just to clarify. Also, again, PB team's really cool. This team is insane. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.